Hello everyone at Huntington Park High School, all of the Spartans there. Today is Memorial Day here at the Lankster home by the lake. And what we're going to do today is to discuss 3 assignments. There's 1 assignment for the U.S. government class, and there are 2 assignments for my U.S. history classes, periods 3, 4, and 5. Correction, 4, 5, and 6. So, what I'd like to start with, since it is Memorial Day, is saying not a happy Memorial Day, since there's no such thing as a happy time when we are memorializing or planting flags or planting wreaths at the death, at the grave sites of those who have fallen, who've taken their lives. But I want to bring you a little bit closer to what Memorial Day really is before I give you these assignments. For me, Memorial Day is a time that I appreciate all of those veterans who have given their lives for this great country of ours. I also would like to share with you that there is a veteran of war that never went to war that happens to be my youngest son, Anthony Douglas Lankster, because he is a victim of Agent Orange, spinal bifida, cerebral palsy, and a number of other illnesses that is the results of my service in Vietnam. He's the only child that I had affected by my service in Vietnam, and he is hospitalized today. As a matter of fact, he's undergone 2 surgeries, brain surgeries in the last 2 weeks, and he's scheduled for another surgery on Thursday, the day that I'm going to be teaching this class for both U.S. history and for my government classes. I also have a video, or should I say, I have a text message that I'll share with you that was from another son of mine, my oldest son, who texted me today and said, Dad, I know with AD, speaking AD, that's Anthony Douglas Lankster, that's my youngest son. He says, I know with AD, we're all going through a lot. As much credit and praise I have given for my younger brother Anthony for being so strong and pulling through this and everything else that he has been through. I just wanted to let you know that I admire your strength and doing whatever you needed to do in Vietnam to make it back here to the States. I know Memorial Day is a day we honor those who lost their lives for this country, and I'm sure that you knew plenty of personal friends who did not make it back and cannot celebrate today. However, I am glad to say that I'm celebrating your tour in the Army on this Veterans Day as rather than Memorial Day. Love you. We as a family can and will weather any storm that comes our way. Thank you for being there for my little brother Anthony and for my mom, and always, and I will forever be grateful and appreciative to you for it. So I was very touched by this text message that I got unsolicited from my son this morning, and he is not one that likes to have his thoughts and things expressed in the public, but I think he'll make an exception and forgive me for sharing that with you. But as we go through this week, as I said, on Thursday, my son Anthony Douglas Lankster, who is has Agent Orange syndrome and is suffering from my service in the war, he'll be undergoing another surgery that is going to be pretty risky, but I'm hoping that all ends up well. Now, having gotten that off my chest, let's get down to business and talk about this government assignment that we have. Okay? In government, we are going to be working on the Constitution for this assignment, and you are to have at least 2 sources of information that you will indicate in your written 2-page write-up on this assignment. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to distinguish whether or not the President of the United States has the power to do what he did on this weekend, and that is this past weekend, the President ordered, or he proclaimed that he was ordering all of the churches to be open for service this weekend. Churches meaning actual churches and other houses of worship like synagogues and so forth. He was proclaiming that these are essential businesses, that religion is essential and it's for the health of our nation, for the health of the people, and he was ordering that they all be open. Now then, there are some governors who took issue with the president, and many scholars took issue with the president, and some of the people in the State Department took issue with the president, saying that he did not have the power to order all of the churches and all of these places to be open. Now, what do we mean when we say did not have the power? Well, when you order something and you tell somebody they had better do something, then you have to have a means of enforcement. How are you going to enforce what it is you're telling somebody that they must do? Well, one of the ways you enforce it is by imposing sanctions or imposing penalties. But you got to have the power to do whatever it is that you're calling on people to do. The President of the United States, as you review the Constitution, the President of the United States has all of his powers enumerated. The executive branch has all of their powers enumerated, and with this enumeration, those powers that are not enumerated in the Constitution and spelled out that the president has, all of these powers are reserved to the states. So I believe that it is the 10th Amendment, and you will have to do your research to find out whether or not the states have obligations or charged with following proclamations ordered by the President of the United States, as in opening up these businesses. So what are you going to do, and what is the assignment? The assignment you have is to write a 2-page essay explaining whether or not the president had the power or has the power to order the states and the governors to allow themselves or to command themselves to actually participate in a service or worship service over this past weekend. Now, when you write your 2-page essay, make sure that you include the powers of the president and whether or not the powers that the president were claiming are reserved to the states, and document it in the Constitution. You can also use what I like to use as a tool. You can use a cell phone. You can ask your Siri or whomever you have that is your little host, ask her what is the validity of the president's order that all of the churches be open. And you're going to have to come up with your 2-page essay, and you must include 2 quotes in your 2-page essay. They can be quotes from lawyers, from the Justice Department. They can be quotes from anyone relative to this topic, but they must be relative to this topic. And when you write your 2-page essay, you are going to submit it to my attention by submitting it on Schoology, and we're going to call it the Sunday Service Declaration. The Sunday Service Declaration, and that's how we'll identify it. Okay, so you're going to attach it to Schoology, the Sunday Service Declaration, and you're going to tell me all about it in this 2-page essay. So, my dog is barking at dogs that are running over by the lake, and we'll take a break and allow him to chill himself down, and we'll be right back with the assignments for U.S. history. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter's dog, the small dog, Kronos, just wouldn't stop barking, so he ran us across the street here to the beach. Okay, what I'd like to say is that I now have the World War II origins, which is what our assignment is going to be all about. And that is the rise of the dictators and the origins of World War II. On your textbook, or in your textbook, you can start reading on page 382, and that will give you some general information. But here's what the assignment is going to be. You're going to have to write 3 pages. okay? And these 3 pages, you're going to have to write a biography, and I don't want you to plagiarize. I want you to use 2 sources and come up with a bio on Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and Joseph Stalin. These are the 3 people that you're going to write 1 page each on, and using 2 sources, okay, you are going to upload your assignments, upload them on Schoology. Now, here's the thing too. As you upload your assignments, remember, you will have to do a 4th one if you want extra credit. And we're preparing for our final exam, which is also going to be an exercise where you are going to write a song. Probably write just a rap song. And here's the things that you're going to have to remember when you're writing your bio. You're going to have to include a few things that I jotted down. 6 things. Where each of these leaders were born, what their childhood was like, how they came into power, how they ruled, what was unique about their dictatorship, and you're going to talk about their evil deeds, and lastly, you're going to tell me how they died. In the case of Francisco Franco, if you want extra credit and you're writing about this Spanish dictator, in his case, you're going to give me at least how many years he reigned, because I think he died a natural death at the age of 82, as opposed to committed suicide or being murdered, or being killed by the people who he was supposed to be ruling over. So remember, you only have to do 2 sources for each of these dictators, and you must use you must not plagiarize, but combine your information and write the biography. Okay, just remember, as I close out here, your works cited page using APA style, you're going to cite your sources of information for the dictators. And you also want to remember, for those of you who, well, nobody could do 60 Minutes this week because they had on a movie called Titanic. So I missed seeing 60 Minutes because I didn't want to watch Titanic. I wanted 60 Minutes. But I know you couldn't do 60 Minutes this week because they didn't have it on. So you are only responsible for it when it's up there. So next week, hopefully, they won't preempt us with a movie, but they'll show 60 Minutes, and I'll expect you to have 60 Minutes turned in on Tuesday after the Sunday night 60 Minutes.